I'm Caden Love.
And I'm Seema Love, his wife.
And we are Love and Lore, taking dark fantasy, light fantasy, and everything in between. And today that includes board games based on books.
Whee!
So, if you've seen our shelves before, you know that we enjoy a good board game. And the way that we're going to address this is kind of like how we address books. I like darker fantasy, she likes lighter. I like heavier, more strategic games, and she likes lighter, more fun ones.
Yeah, the ones that don't take an hour to learn.
Yep. So I've chosen 5 from my collection, some of them being heavier, some of them being a little lighter. And we're going to just give you a little preview at like what they are like, see if there's something that beats your taste, and we'll get to it.
We're starting with Mistborn.
Okay, so this one is Mistborn House War. There's also an expansion. This one is really fun for those people that like social deduction games, big group party games, but it is not as much of that. What it is you play as a certain house in the world of Mistborn. You trade goods with each other while trying to combat rebellion.
Mm-hmm. And I do like the interacting with players aspect of this game because you have to like actively trade and talk to them, which I like, but it did take more to learn than I usually like, so I'll give it like 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. So as far as a party game, this is a heavier party game, but I think if you have bookish friends that want to play this, especially Sanderson fans, this is perfect. Definitely worth a little bit of effort learning. So I think this is good for book fans, those that like very interactive ones where you make social deals, and just people that like games.
Next we have Game of Thrones.
Okay, so there is a Game of Thrones board game, which is one of the heavier and longer ones, but instead we're going to talk about Game of Thrones Catan. So I think that this one is one of the easiest entry points compared to the games we're talking about. Catan is more of a heavier strategic game, but it's one a lot of people are familiar with.
So the rules are absolutely the same as the original Catan, right?
So you can play it just like normal Catan, just with a little bit of different art. You can also do a mode where you have the wall. This is, you're playing as the Night's Watch, and you have the wall that you have to protect from wildlings and incoming giants, things like that. So while you're trading, building your civilization, you are also working to defend that. But like Seema said, you can play it just as normal Catan.
We have Dune next.
Okay, so Dune has spawned a lot of board games, but this one is one of my favorites. This one is more of a complex one. It is called Dune Imperium. It has the art of the movie, but...
Oh, the art is really good.
Mm-hmm. And the expansion and the newer version of this does include characters that aren't in the movie that are more in the world lore. Mm-hmm. For those familiar with board games, this is a worker placement as well as deck builder. So it is not the heaviest board game, but it has some great strategy where you are appeasing the certain forces. You are warring over spice, which is one of the biggest currencies in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried this with her. I don't know if it really suits her taste too much.
I don't think I tried it. I got scared and I didn't play it.
Okay. Well,
it just looks complex, even though he tells me that it's not.
And honestly, right now, this is definitely in my top 5 board games ever. I really love it.
Okay.
Super fun.
Next, we have Lightbringer.
So this
Red Rising.
is Red Rising. And this is one of the first games that I really got her into playing. So why don't you talk about it?
This is actually really fun. I think it follows the same rules as a lot of other games. I've seen a lot of similar games when there's just like cards with characters and they have abilities, and you collect characters based on their abilities and like what they give you in the end. So this one is pretty easy and I love it.
And the art is super fun. One of my favorite things was when I first got it after reading it, just looking through, you're like, oh, there's Ragnar, there's Darrow.
Yeah, because there's no character art in the books.
Yeah, so it's really cool character art. I think that's really fun. Basis of this, like she said, you have character cards, and you are trading them with the board and picking new ones up, putting them down. They have abilities when you lay them down, and characters that are with each other. For example, if you have Darrow and Cassius, they are negative points towards each other, but if you have Darrow, Cassius, and Mustang, they all work together.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
So it's really thematic, very fun, and out of the games that we've been talking about, if you're not familiar with Catan, this is probably the easiest entry point.
The last one is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson.
So, this is the first book in the Reckoner series. Why, though, this is a big game, It is not too intimidating. This one is very great on theme if you've read the Reckoner series. What you are doing in this game is you are taking a role of one of the Reckoners and you are working against Steelheart. Steelheart is the main villain. You are trying to defeat him, but under him are all these other epics, as they are called in the world, the other supervillains. You can either face them head on, or you can go to research them to find their weaknesses, just like in the book. So it's really fun, great cooperative, and I think that as far as cooperative games go, if you can get people not to be too intimidated by the box, it is a really fun game. And as well as the other ones, it's fun to see character art, and there are miniatures for each character. So it was really fun to paint those and to see them as they are imagined in here.
Cool. So what would you say is the most complex and difficult out of all the games that we showed today?
Out of all the games that we've showed today, I think that Dune Imperium is probably the most complex, with Red Rising being the easiest. The others kind of fall in between, and like I said before, if you're familiar with Catan, go ahead with Game of Thrones Catan. I think it is a great addition. Like people know with Catan, there are like the Seafarers, Knights and Cities, and it's just another expansion there. But honestly, with all these, if you put forth the time to do it a little, there are plenty of videos online to teach you how to do it. You can do it. These are just a couple share of them. Other ones out there that you might want to check out is Brotherwise is an awesome company that is really showing a lot of love to Sanderson. Call to Adventure Stormlight Archive is a really fun one. We're looking towards the Stormlight RPG coming soon. And another game that I'm anxiously awaiting is the Mistborn Deck Builder.
Ooh.
So we will plan on getting those and other games I'm adding to the list. We'll see. Are you a fan of board games? Let us know if there's any book board games that we should add to our list.
Thank you for watching.